This is St Michael's Mount in Cornwall, well known for its striking views, rich history and tourist industry. However, not many people know about the community that live on the island to the present day. In this documentary, we will be getting a unique insight from some of the islanders themselves. Let me introduce myself.
Hi, I'm Iris Rainbow, and this is my home. Come with me and I'll show you around.
Because the tide is high, I've booked onto the boat, and now I'm making my way down to Guelva, one of 3 landing points, to catch the ferry boat over to St Michael's Mount. Oh look, there's Mike now, leaving the island to come and collect me.
Hey Mike.
Hey Iris, you alright?
Yeah, I'm right, thank you.
Good.
It's a lovely calm day today, so let's take the opportunity to ask Mike about how the boat runs work.
The boats run a continuous service. They're generally caught from the steps here at the end of the quay. Continuous service, if we're running for public, it's every 12 people, which is a maximum of 10 minutes. Or if it's on a Saturday like we are today, it's there's a schedule which is every half an hour to an hour. The great thing about it is every single one's different. There's no 2 boat rides the same, whether it's through weather, the people you're carrying, the conversations you have. And life is as simple as it can possibly be.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too.
We'll just let Mike park the boat before catching up with him on the mainland.
I'm Mike. I'm one of the boatmen on the island. Lived here for 10 years. Our day basically starts and finishes here on the island. There's nowhere in Marizine to keep the boats overnight. And obviously the way the tide goes up and down, it varies as to what location we'd be operating from on the first run each day. So the things that make it great is obviously the island community. We're a varied bunch from visitor services, gardeners, boatmen, and also the longevity of the time that people have lived on the island goes from people who have been here for 12 months up to people who have been here for 40 plus years. So it's great to have that mix up between everyone on the island. The boats play the biggest part of the island. You know, the tide's shut for 70% of its opening hours. So bringing people to and from the island is obviously a main characteristic, but they also they become ambulances, they become stores vehicles. You know, it's such a variety of things that the boats play that the island wouldn't succeed without it. So we do a variety of training, which goes from firefighting, first aid courses, and then everyone's got their own skills in behind it, whether it be mechanics, fiberglass woodwork. You know, it's a whole variety of things that people play in the background. But you never know, because the island's obviously so unique. You never know what's going to happen next. Yeah, it's a real special place. We're a great team, and yeah, we work hard. We work long hours.
So we've just got off the boat. It was lovely to catch up with Mike just then, and we are now on the harbour front. I'd say that the harbour front is the hub of island community, from barbecues in the summer to watching the storms in the winter. These are the island houses, or the residence houses. This one used to be an old pub. It's not a pub anymore. There used to be 3 pubs on the island, but now there's none, unfortunately. We just bring our drinks over on the front and have a barbecue. It's quite nice. About 35 residents live on the island, approximately. I've just seen a new islander, a little baby, which was really sweet. And some of us have pets as well. So there's 4 island dogs, I think 5 island cats. So this is Elizabeth Terrace. This is where I live. These are really ancient houses. We still live in them to the present day. Day-to-day life on the island is pretty standard. Let's talk to one of the islanders, Steve, to find out what he thinks about it.
Hi, good morning. My name's Steve Matthews. I work as a boatman on St Michael's Mount, and I've lived here for somewhere over 45 years. And it's a wonderful place to be. When I started, there were people who'd been here a long time. It was sort of a situation that I slipped into because my family goes back many generations, somewhere between 300 and 400 years. I was asked to work on the estate, which meant living on the island. I've lived in 5 or 6 different houses in the time that I've been here. And I now live in Elizabeth Terrace, which is a second row of houses. In the previous houses I'd lived in, they weren't overlooked by neighbours, and I wasn't too sure how it would be. And then you and Tom and Holly became neighbours, and it was just great. And I think it's just wonderful to have that morning reaction where you say good morning, and you might be having breakfast, or I might be coming out to going to work, and it's really special.
It's definitely my favourite part.
Oh, that's
about living on the
fantastic.
island.
If you get a storm from the south or the southeast, the conditions can get rough in the harbour and you have to pull the boats right out.
Yeah.
And then the water will come up around the houses, and we put boards in front of the front doors and maybe shutters across the windows to keep the sea out. And that is just so totally different from what is behind us today when the water's calm and it's sunny. When I'm not working and the weather's reasonable, I like rowing. I have a small dinghy and I go out and you're able to row around and just pick up driftwood. And there's a good strong community here at the moment. Lots of younger people and more children than I ever remember on the island. So it's good. It's quite lively.
So we're on our way to the boat shed. I've just been informed that Derek is in the boat shed, so we're going to go and talk to him to see what his perspective on island life is.
Don't like to put too much on. My name's Derek Round. I was born here, lived all my childhood here, and loved it, just loved it. And I was the first person born on the island for 62 years.
Wow. Living on the mainland now, what do you miss about living on the island?
Oh, I just used to like it because it was nice. It was very busy during the days with visitors, but in the evenings you could go out with a dog and sit around the back and just let the evening go past, you know. Yeah, everybody to their own. I must say, if you're a party person, this place isn't any good for you at all. And you found that out. Yeah.
What about black flag weather warnings? You know.
Oh, that was black flag was great when you was a child, because lots of times that meant no school.
Yeah.
No. If the black flag is up, we can run for staff, not for visitors. But if the cone goes up, which is a big black round ball,
Yeah, I've seen that.
that's it. No boating at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind me is the amphicraft, also known as the duck boat. I call it the duck boat. Other people call it the amphicraft. It's an amphibious boat which drives into the water and drives out. We often use this in the winter when the days get shorter and the weather gets rougher. And now let's head over to the change house to see what's going on over there. Hello, you right? Hello, nice to see you. Nice to see you too.
Hi, I'm Vicky and I am the Change House Coordinator for the Mount. We are kind of the hub of information, so if you want to know anything, you come into the Change House. Also, we deal with any emergencies, so this is the coordinator phone and we are in charge of it all day, and then a resident will take it all evening, and if there is an emergency, we coordinate the emergencies.
In terms of like the islanders booking boats, are you the one that receives those calls?
Yes, on a day-to-day basis, I book islanders, residents, islanders, contractors and visitors to the residents onto boats. We all have radios. We communicate by radio rather than by phone because there's not always phone reception on the island. As with many things on this island, it isn't that easy to get your post, as you know. So it gets delivered to the mainland, and then when the tides open, the boatman will bring it over. And it can sometimes take a few days for things.
Next day delivery.
No, Amazon next day is not a thing that really happens here, is it? So yeah.
And no takeaways as well.
No takeaways.
What are your favourite parts about this job?
My favourite part is actually being on the mount because it's so beautiful here. The views, working with all the people. We've got a really nice group of people who work here. Visitors.
Yeah.
And lastly, I do a wildlife journal, so I do a lot of wildlife spotting here as well, which I really quite like too.
And now we're going to talk to James, also known as Lord St Leven, who lives in the castle.
Hi, I'm James. Nice to see you. My family's been living in the castle for on and off of over 300 years. I love walking up and down to the castle, and it means sort of every day I take a bit of exercise. I never need to bother to go to the gym. We live our lives in a very similar way to how we lived it before, so we haven't suddenly employed butlers and footmen and sort of go into a style, although my grandparents did live like that. Things often don't work quite as you'd expect them to, and I think that's sort of, it's seasonal. We have in the summer we have huge numbers of people come onto the island visiting. In the winter it's just the people who live here, and we're a tight community, and we have to travel by boat to get to the mainland, and our last boat's at 5 o'clock, and to many people that might seem rather an odd way of life, but there's a sort of feeling of camaraderie because we're all doing it and it's become normal for us. But I actually love having the visitors here. I think to have a place that people want to come and see and to share it is just really great. And I'd underestimated actually how important the community is for living on the Mount. And it's just very special.
And finally, let's make our way up the castle path while chatting to Duncan, who knows it well.
What would you say living in the castle was like? What were the challenges of that?
I mean, it was really cool. It was really cool. And there's a hill, you know. You've got to walk up a hill to get home. But actually, it's like a country park. So, you know, it's just getting the right perspective. And having lived, you know, in other places and in the middle of cities, it's not difficult to get the right perspective for dealing with a hill. But the benefit was the lifestyle as well, being part of the community here, and also the views. You know, you can't deny whoever lives at the top of the hill gets great views. Most places where people live, you don't really know your neighbour that well, you know, and you certainly don't know like a few doors down and a few doors down from that. But everyone knows everyone here. Living in a safe environment that is a bit more cut off, and the people, you know, the people around you, you know it's safe, and you haven't got any of that kind of worry, which is nice.
And say you were to leave the island, what would you miss most about island life?
I think just being so close to the sea, you know, like right next to the sea, walk out your door, there's the sea. You look across, you know, out the window, there's the sea. You're at work, there's the sea. It's right there. And the kids, you know, running around on the beach, they get home, they spend hours just throwing stones around. I think that would be a real shame to lose that. One of the things I really enjoy is sharing this with people and, you know, explaining what it is a little bit more, explaining the history of it and the significance of it, because there's not many places like it in the UK, you know, or even probably the world. And letting what one person described as to me once, so what's that over there? Just a load of old buildings. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it is some old buildings, but, you know, it's a bit more than that.
I hope you've enjoyed this insight into our unique way of life living on St Michael's Mount. I'm Iris Rainbow, and I hope you join me on my next adventure.